everyone, and welcome to the Mixing Glass. It's me, your host, John Mateer, and today we have a really fun episode because we're doing a Dungeons and Dragons episodes. We always like to bring guests onto the show. We've had a lot of bar hospitality professionals, but it's time to highlight the other half of our show, and I can't do it alone because my co-host, Michael Windsor, is here today. Michael, how are you doing?
Well, hello, John. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. Look at that beautiful face over there.
Look at your beautiful face.
I know. Look at me. Yeah, I was gonna say, good thing we don't do video content, but we do. So here we are.
Yeah, get on YouTube and look at our beautiful faces.
It's true.
Yeah.
How's your day? You feeling good?
Yeah, I'm ready to rock.
Dude, I love it. I had a great day today. I finished R&D for my cocktail menu, and that means that I actually get to sleep for one night without any worries before I get to price all the cocktails tomorrow. Good time.
What kind of cocktail menu are you working on?
So every fall and winter, we like to do a experiential style menu, which is going to segue into our guest today very, very well. But we do these experiential menus, and this one's going to be a vinyl album. It's based on the 80s music. It's going to be our first volume. Next fall, winter, we might do 70s, might do 90s, or anything in between. But every single cocktail is named after a song. There's going to be a vinyl record that you pull out from the actual sleeve. It has all our dessert menu on there, and then all of our beer, wine, everything like that. And you're actually going to be able to put the vinyl record on and play music. It's going to be pretty sick.
Wait, you hold on. That was a baited question. I already know what he's working on, people.
Yeah, I know.
You can actually pull but it's an actual vinyl record, like just a random 80s record.
Yeah, I literally bought a bulk 200 random records.
Okay, that's actually pretty cool. I didn't know that part of it.
And I have stickers that are covering the actual names on the center, so you don't know what it is.
That's pretty great. So what? That's dangerous. So did you have a cocktail that you created for this menu?
You mean the whole menu?
I thought, okay, it was the entire menu. I saw the Nick name on there. I thought somebody else had done something.
No, my bartenders also create a lot of the drinks too, which I think is really important for anyone who's designing a menu. Is that you have your bartenders actually buy into the program, because if they've bought into the program, they're more excited to sell the drinks. They're more excited to actually make cocktails in general because they can tell a guest a story about what they've actually created. Again, beautiful segues into what we're going to be talking about here today with our guest on the show. But the thing I'm most excited about with this menu is that every single drink has a song name that has a song that will get stuck in your head and you won't be able to let it go, because there's nothing more beautiful than just listening to people walk around the restaurant humming and singing these songs for the next week. It's so good.
Do you have a favorite drink that you've created on this menu?
I do have a favorite drink that I've created on this menu.
What is it?
And it's actually a drink that I created for the world-class bartending competition that I did when I was in Denver.
Little name drop there.
Little name drop. But it's this absolutely delicious cocktail using Johnny Walker Black Label Scotch. So they're 12-year. It has a salted orange cordial using orange zest and a little bit of saline to pull that out. It has some heavy cream in there. And it has a little bit of chili bitters added to it. And it basically talks about the story of the cocktail is that it follows my journey throughout moving across the state bartending. But the drink's absolutely delicious, and I can't wait to have people try this bad boy.
What's it called on the menu?
So on the menu, I've called it Beast of Burden. But in the competition, it was Address Unknown. Is
Beast of Burden an 80s Stones song?
It is now.
Okay.
I'm a bartending professional. Here we are. Music isn't my forte. That's your job. All right. So before I get into trouble not knowing anything about music, I have a guest that I need to bring on to the show today, Mike. All right. You're canceled. Our guest today is Morgan Dangerfield. Morgan Dangerfield is a semi-professional dungeon master who runs a homebrew Dungeons and Dragons campaign for the last 5 years in the world of Evermore, with sponsors from around the world. Prioritizing character immersion, breaking the fourth wall, and capturing all the senses of the players, bringing them further into the world. Published author of the fantasy adventure novel Heroes of Evermore, An Unlikely Gathering, turning our D&D campaign into a novel, sharing the events of our campaign 1 with the world. Most recently, Morgan Dangerfield was seen dungeon mastering at San Diego Comic-Con, which is absolutely incredible, and hosting their own D&D TTRPG convention this October in Southern California. Morgan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Hey, we're excited to have you on too. We're excited to nerd out a little bit, have a good time, roll some dice, tell stories. What better evening could be that?
Yeah, and if you are just listening to the podcast, you should go to the YouTube just so you can see Morgan's backdrop, because we are in the dungeon now, people.
Yeah, he is dungeon mastering us in this episode. Usually we control the flow. Now I feel like I got to be a player. Morgan, take it away. No, just...
No, welcome to the Evermore Tavern. We one of our sponsors, and those sponsors you mentioned, is one of our local breweries, Battle Mage Brewing in Vista, California, and they run D&D games Monday, Tuesday nights, and just a plethora of love in the community, D&D community, and so they sponsor Keg on Tap in the tavern.
Well, hell, I want to come play D&D with you.
Here we go. That's awesome. What a great name for a brewery too. What's your favorite beer they make?
Oh, Divine Light. Right now, summer, we've had a heat wave. It's super light, crisp, like Pilsner style. But they have actually won the World Beer Competition, gold and last year, silver this year, for one of their like red IPAs. So to have world award-winning beer in our tavern is pretty epic.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You just get to walk 10 feet and it's right there ready to go.
Yeah. It's called Summon Ifrit is the name of that one. So,
if you drink enough, do you summon one?
Correct. 100%.
Yeah, there it is.
It is happening. My players call that session 13.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, before we get too far off the rails here, because we got some really cool things to talk about tonight, we do a little segment called Roll for Initiative. Now, I know you have a D20 over there, so let's give that bad boy a roll and let me know what you land on.
Three.
Is it really?
It's not the same question.
Okay, thank God. I thought it was.
But this is good, and I think that you are going to have a very fantastic take on this being a dungeon master.
I love it.
Morgan, question number 3. How many squirrels could you take in a fight to the death? Now, you're in the middle
What level am I?
What level am I?
What level are you right now with a couple sips out of your mug? What do you had over there?
IRL 36. No.
Perfect. I should be much more powerful at level 34. So, you're in the middle of a field, and you are going to lose this fight eventually. This is very important context. So, it's how many squirrels can you take before you die? You only have what you have on you in the middle of this field right now. So, you didn't plan for an adventure. You didn't plan to get attacked. It's just you in the middle of the field. How many squirrels can you take?
Is the field flammable?
You tell me. Do you have a pack of matches on you? You gotta tell me.
No, 100%. I've got a lighter, and I would light the. Let me see. I would light the field on fire. I would probably take AOE damage. Let's see. I could probably take
the DM's coming in.
I'd say I could take out 200.
200. That's pretty good. You do have some elemental, skills there on your side.
I guess.
Okay. Mike, if I ask you this question, what do you think?
No, this is the most ridiculous question I've heard on this roll for initiative.
The lower you roll, the more ridiculous the questions are.
These are honestly like squirrels, right? Like sharpened fangs and just.
Yeah, not so much like the Monty Python rabbit from the Holy Grail. Like I think that's like too far sharp, pointy teeth. But I would say these are your average park squirrels.
Not average. They're attacking a man. I mean,
well, that's true.
Honestly, if I could kill 50 squirrels before I died, I'd be pretty thrilled with myself. I mean, I just imagine just if they swarm you. I mean, do they come in waves? Is it like 2 or 3 at a time? Because that changes.
I would say waves. I think a wave encounter is probably the best way to go about this, and it gradually increases over time.
Oh God, I don't know, man. I mean,
starts off easy. You get confident. You know?
I mean, dude, honestly, like 2 or 3 squirrels attacking me would be intense. It would be absolutely intense.
It actually would be.
I could get overrun really quickly. I don't know. What about you, John? You wrote this question, so what's your answer?
I did.
How many squirrels at the park have you fought, John? What happened?
More than I should digress. There's an NDA for that.
Is that how this question came to be?
No, absolutely not.
Our day at the park was fine until this guy started stomping squirrels. I mean,
so I think every time I answer this question, I've probably given a different answer because it's based on mood, right? Like how confident are you? Anything like that. Right now, I don't even think I could take 20. I'm recovering from COVID this past week. Like I don't.
Your legs all fucked up.
Well, I'm back to normal with my leg. Calm down.
To an extent, until they see that
incident has been healed.
And yeah, until they see that that's your weakness, and they're all like, "Go for the leg," and then they wreck you.
Yeah, I wish I had immunity to kickball injuries, but I don't. Even as a level 34 player,
hey, kicking a ball is not that much different than kicking a squirrel. So,
well, unlike D&D, the more you level up, the less immunities you have. It's the complete opposite.
Start walking around with spiked shoes on.
That's for the squirrels. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for indulging us with that amazing question. Feel free to use that in your games.
I will. My players are going to be horrified. It's great.
They absolutely are.
Yeah, you're gonna have to look up.
Tire squirrel shows up.
Yeah, is there a swarm of squirrels in the monster book? I'm not sure, but
it's going to be.
There's going to be.
The monster manual. Excuse me. Sorry, don't mean to sound like a novice over here.
It's okay.
No, you got it. You nailed it.
Oh, so we know that you play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. You play a lot of TTRPGs. But we also know that you did work in the hospitality industry for a little while. And so we ask all of our guests, an origin story. How did you get into your first hospitality job? What drew you in? And then why did you leave? Because these are subsequent questions.
Oh, man, I have a good story for you. So I did serve my time, and it was I actually of course. It was a resort in Carlsbad, California here. Beautiful, not far from the beach, super blessed. And my mom actually worked there selling timeshares at the time, and so she's like, hey, come in, work valet to start. Worked my way up. I was there 5 years total. Went from valet to valet captain to front service coordinator to activities manager, running around in a suit, sweating my balls off.
That's a real job at a resort. That is a real job because you're hurting, especially if people are drinking. Nearly impossible.
Impossible. So yes, went through that. Found out that there was actually a need for concierge. We were always understaffed, and at the time, I was starting to dabble in web design, and so thought in my mind, touchscreens had just started coming out with iPads. This was, mind you, like 2013 and 2012, and so I created like a virtual concierge. It was called Hospitality Hotspot, and you could actually have a touchscreen in the lobby. Now everyone has those, but back then this was not. This was like maybe Coronado had it, like the Hotel Del. Like it was just very rare, and even to the point of having QR codes in the rooms. Like QR codes were new at that time, and so you guys can fact check me. It's fine. And it was legit. It was fun. I
want to make an investigation check. Yeah.
And anyway, so I quit to do that full time. I started doing it there. I locked in deals with this resort, had a chain in the area, and signed on multiple resorts. And then I went out and sold marketing space on it to local businesses and restaurants, like to have coupons for all the people staying at the resort. And I ran that. I left to do that full time. It was awesome.
That's incredible. That's actually a really cool story too. And like, you are right. I mean, someone can fact check me out there, but that is early for that type of technology. Like, well, I remember I think I sat down at my first restaurant that had an iPad as a menu in probably like 2014, 2015, and that was mind-boggling that they didn't have, paper laminated menus, so
that was awesome. It was the resort even was affiliated with the restaurant on the property, and I had tied it in with their menu for in-room dining. So it was getting to that virtual menu too. So yeah.
And do you still collect royalties off of this IT property?
I do not. Sad news. Hilton moved in, purchased out those resorts, and pushed me out being a small-time business owner. But that experience lives on.
Yeah, lesson learned, which is actually really cool.
It was.
Now you're going to have a double origin story because we know you left the industry, you haven't come back, but we do know that you have a love for games and gaming. So we love to ask this of our D&D centric guests. How did you first get into Dungeons and Dragons? What was your first taste? How old were you? What was the game? How did it happen?
Yeah, it was. I was 20. So probably while I was working in hospitality, needed that break, that release, and it was awesome. It was so cool. A buddy of mine, this was we sat in his garage, had beers, charcuterie before charcuterie was a thing, and
adult Lunchables.
Yeah, all the good stuff. Turkey legs everywhere. It's fine. And then we played, and it was a lot of theater of the mind. I don't know what edition he was running. I want to say it was like 3.5. And at that time, and he would, draw out maps. And to this day, I remember almost everything that happened. It was only a couple sessions. It was cut short because people couldn't make it afterward. But I was hooked at that point. Mm-hmm. And then like life happened, purchased a house and just all the things, different careers, and didn't play for a long time until like 5 years ago. I had that itch to play again. I started looking into it. And Critical Role was happening, and I'm like, "What is this? Why? How are so many people watching this?" Like, they had just started their second campaign at that time, realizing I'm going to have to probably be the dungeon master. So I had to look up and all the rules. Matthew Colville's running the game YouTube series. Like, I just invested into it being the best dungeon master that I could be. Because asking people randomly, this, mind you, before Stranger Things, this is before the new movie. This is pre-COVID when everybody was looking into other gaming options. Like, so I'd have to ask them, like, "Hey, do you want like a game night? We're gonna have drinks. It's gonna be fun. I'll teach you how to play." Like, like casually. Now you can ask people, "Hey, you want to play D&D?" Like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to. Or I've played before." It's a different environment. But that is my origin story getting into it.
It's an interesting way to lure people into a game night because like learning a board game rule set is difficult enough, but learning D&D and creating a character sheet or something, it's like, what the fuck did you talk me into doing here?
Yeah,
I mean,
if they're brave enough to stick around and enjoy it, then they're gonna get it. But yeah, it's a lot to throw on a novice.
So you play games like me. We know this is real. How many times have you sat down at a game night where someone opens a box for a brand new game and then you guys spend the first 20, 30 minutes just trying to read the rules and you're like,
"Yep,
okay, so we do this." And
by the time we're playing, we're already buzzed. Yeah.
So how do you, as a dungeon master, self-proclaimed forever DM, bring in new players to play with you? Because there are a significant amount of rules for Dungeons and Dragons, especially the ones that can be overwhelming for new players. So how do you give them, like the quick tutorial of what you're going to be doing sitting at the table for the first time? Yeah,
great question. So I will lure them in with like a squirrel question, right? Like,
here we are.
An encounter, right? Like, okay, the clouds darken, the sky darkens, and these ravenous squirrels start approaching you with, white foam coming out of their mouths, hundreds of them. The ground trembles as they approach. You have a sword and you have a lantern. What do you do? Like putting somebody in a fictional scenario and immersing them in a world outside of their bills and their stresses and their life is what D&D was made to be by Gary Gygax so long ago, 50 years ago to be exact, this year. And so doing that for somebody, transporting them, is how I will hook them. And then to finish off that question is I will teach them off the table how to character build, especially their first time, because experienced players can come to the table and you can do like a session 0 and build out. Now, if you do it with brand new people, it's like 3 session 0s you need because you're answering questions. And so D&D Beyond does help. The virtual app, it simplifies a lot of things as they put in information and level up. But I love doing physical hard copies at the table and pencils. And so I will guide them through that character build and what they can do and their features. So I'll give them a brief one, and then I'll sit them next to an experienced player at the table to guide them through. Obviously, I can answer questions, but to keep the flow of the game going, sitting them next to somebody who knows what they're doing that can guide them on the side whisper, it's perfect. That is how I'll set them up for success.
Yeah, it's a smart tactic. Yeah.
I love that. So you already started talking about a little bit of immersion when you talked about these squirrels popping out of the ground and the ground trembling. I think one of the things that you specialize in with Heroes of Evermore, and we've seen your YouTube or your Instagram reels and everything, creating this player immersion while building a world around it. So when did you decide that you wanted to take it from just sheets of paper and pencils and create this extra like experience for your players?
Oh, yeah, it actually came very naturally. I found out quickly that my creative outlet is storytelling, and to take people along a story without railroading them. Like I gave, and we'll touch on this later, co-authorship in my book to all my players in the back of it. So because it's collaborative storytelling is what you're doing here, and they can choose what they want to do. That's the glorious thing about it. You can literally do anything. You can kick squirrels, and so
Well, you can try anything. Let's be real. Yeah,
you can certainly try. Exactly.
You can certainly try.
I tell people there will be consequences. There are consequences, as there are in real life. So, anyways, I found out I wanted to take it to the next level just by setting up sessions, like prepping. I'm like, maybe it's just my mindset. I'm like, okay, I have the session prep, the maps, like the players are monsters are gonna fight. But like, then I ask, okay, what can I do to take it to the next level? And this immersion factor of adding elements like fire and smoke, and to the point of even pulley system booby traps hidden around them, was just like I don't know. I grew up watching Goonies. I grew up going to Renaissance fairs, like all the things, like that I loved. I could found out D&D does all these things. I could pour into it, and watching the expressions on the players' faces be like in awe and stoked and shocked was cool. I love surprising them. So, yeah.
So what was the first immersion moment that you created for your players? What was that first one that you're like, this is more than that pen and paper? What do we got? Like, what was it?
Oh man, what did I do? Oh, that's a great question. It was I want to say it was adding dry ice. This was before I had fog machines and such, and you could get dry ice pretty cheap at the grocery store. And so I had it. We played at the dining room table at this time, and so I had like a lamp, like a normal fixture above the dining room table. I took off the top screw so it was flat. I put a bowl of water up there. Like it was secure. And then now the tavern dungeon is set, ready, but with the press of a button. But at this time it was all manual. And then I also hid little cups of water inside of offer up a fish tank castle, which looks so epic and legit and real. I still have it, and it's the perfect size for your miniatures. And so it was hollow inside. So I put a little cup of water in there. So at the time everything happened, I did like a quick lighting change and then dropped dry ice in both of those. So smoke is billowing out over everybody, and it's billowing out of the castle itself. It's on one of my reels. And that was,
I think you sent me that one.
Yeah, the first main time that actually everyone's like, oh crap. And I described it as like the main bad at the time was like summoning energy to him, and they felt like a pull and a tug on their chest as they were being pulled and drawn towards this dark figure, and smoke emanated all around them and filled them. They started to get a chill over their skin and up their spine. And so adding all those elements of theater of the mind, of description, and then also of the physical was that was my first time, and it was so cool to see their faces. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure John sent me that reel, and that's why when he sent me that, I'm like, I want to go play D&D at this guy's place, because it was like adding those little extra touches. It's like you said, it's immersive. It brings you into the atmosphere of what you're trying to create in your mind.
Yeah, and it was, I mean, not free 99, but it was like budget conscious. Like it was $10 of dry ice at the store or less. At that time.
So
Yeah.
along those lines, what are some of like the first steps that someone who's looking to create an immersive game at their table can do to create those for their players? You know, not everybody's going to go buy dry ice, but like, what are some other cool things that someone getting into it could do?
Yeah, it's funny you ask. I just finished the second video of a series I was asked to do by Top Shelf Nerds, and it's going to be called Tabletop Heroes. And so I will tell you guys sneak peek right now.
Ooh,
But
there you go,
I've
listeners.
actually, I'm going to do all of those immersive things that I've done at my table. Been able to do a series about it, so people can do that at theirs
Oh,
and
cool.
be the hero of their tabletop. Um,
Love
so
that.
yes, but I would say when you're a kid, like growing up, I don't know if you guys ever did this, but you have like a hive of bees or wasps close by, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna take WD-40 and a torch to these things. Like,
No, I just had
it's like,
squirrels growing up.
just
It's like,
squirrels.
where is he going? I've been there. Yeah, I know exactly what you're fucking talking about.
Yes. So just it came to like
Fireball!
fireball, instant fireball. Use with caution, everybody. Disclaimer:
Don't do
not
that.
safe without an adult. Yeah. But no, I of course as a kid did that, and so applying that to the table, applying all the elements of fire, ice. I even like looking up things. It all started essentially from Google, but embracing elements. I've been described in another interview of like doing third grade science projects at my table to the point where you go to Camping World and they have magic flame powder and you pour it into a campfire and it turns the flames green. And so I utilized that as they were concocting a spell and summoning words. And I lit I actually used a high-end whiskey, not a high-end whiskey, a high alcohol percentage whiskey to light on fire. It maintained a fire and sprinkled the powder over it, turned green, and like a little shot glass, which to miniatures, it's like the perfect size for a cauldron.
That's so
So
cool.
like
That's true.
all that, yeah, all that those little things from even a fog machine. If you don't have a fog machine, like for Halloween, a baby, like a diffuser, and you can hook a hose up to it and angle it to like billow over your map and your tabletop. To then like $20 pulleys on Amazon, where like I did high test fishing line around the pulley so it was hidden, and I even rigged it up to like a bowling ball in essence to roll. And all I did was pull a mug, and I said, "Okay, are you sure you want to move that map that's on the captain's table?" Okay, you move it, and I pull the mug, and it just pulls the string, drops the cannonball, and raises a pirate flag over a chest. It's like it was like, and it's all that stuff. It was like $20, and then 2 hours of time figuring it out. But all those things you can get and apply at your table using your surrounding elements. So
that's super cool. And what did you say that is going to be called? That where you talk about how to do this?
Yeah,
the plug again. Tabletop Heroes.
It is Tabletop Heroes. Yep.
That's incredible. And I mean, it just, especially like the shot glass with the high alcohol proof and the sprinkling that in, that's so easy. I mean, obviously you should be careful doing that, but like that just, it brings the magic from the game kind of into reality to where you can actually see it. It makes it kind of tangible. And I love that. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
All right. So when did the cocktails start coming into some of this immersion that were at the table? When did that happen? I've seen several of these videos.
Yes. So one of the first ones was after that instance where that dark figure was summoning that smoke and fog on the castle, ends up turning into a gold dragon. And the next session, I had lined up a shot, and I actually had like a chalkboard drawn. My wife drew a dragon, like doing fire onto a shot glass, and we called it, what do we call it? Death from Above. And essentially, because it was a shot with high proof alcohol, lit on that all the players lit on fire, and then they had a double shot glass with Coke in it. And then what we did was provide them with cinnamon and threw it on the flame for it to sparkle and fire. So they knew they were fighting a dragon that session. They were amped. They were like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to give you guys a chance outside a game to distinguish this dragon. Distinguish the fire, the breath weapon from it." So threw that on there. It flames burst up from that, and then they poured it and extinguished it with whatever they chose. We used Coke. and that was one of the first drinks that we did. Death from Above. Oh, did we lose him?
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's fine. That's really cool. And I've seen that you've done a bunch of other cocktails too. Like, I think I saw a flavor blaster in one of your videos, creating some bubbles with smoke and scents and flavor inside.
Yes. Okay. So when this ties into the game, right? Is when I apply it, and so it tied in perfectly with them meeting in an elven town, meeting a tavern owner in a treetop tavern. And if you can picture it, and he's actually running an underground resistance movement. And so he asked the heroes, the players, to come down to his like secret resistance room, which is essentially a speakeasy. And he's partnered with the fairies that are in the forest next to him to provide this crude, pure mana, which I actually had on like a stand. Let me see if I have the stand here for visual, whoever's watching. But it was like
cool.
a blue, and then I actually lit a fire. So he's like boiling down this mana, exported from the fairies, and then imbuing his magical essence into making like a mana moonshine. And at that time, then my wife, I timed it perfectly where she came out with a tray of blue drinks with blue lights all in them. And yeah, what you're talking about, the flavor blaster, I used a diffuser. Actually, I tried to look up and research like bartender flair and what they've done and what has happened. And so I ordered, what did I order? Edible bubbles, and then we had edible blue glitter in there as well to swirl around and make like a potion concoction looking mixture, and then hooked up a diffuser to a hose, and then just put the tip in the bubbles, and it just blew out perfectly. Bubbles floated down, and then smoke went over the glass, each glass, and then I served it to the players. It was awesome.
That's incredible. Also, for our hospitality and bartenders that listen to our podcast, you just found out how to get a significantly cheaper version of the flavor blaster. So
yes,
keep that in mind. Those things are not really that cheap, and you can get a hose, edible bubbles, and glitter for probably less than $25. So that's that's awesome.
Like I said, cost effective. Like, and we had a baby, and like this is very clean. Diffuser is very natural, very clean, like nothing extra. So no oils or whatnot.
Oh, that's incredible. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So, how much do your players know before they show up to these sessions? Because obviously there's an element of surprise that you're bringing to them, but how much do they get to know before they show up? And are they used to it now? And you have to create more like crazier things for them.
Yeah, they're used to it now, but they don't know anything, and I will never tell them. I am a huge proponent in surprising the wow factor. When you're sitting around a table for 3 hours, you can get bored in combat, waiting your turn and whatnot. So when I can add that extra element at a certain time, like the WD-40, okay, the dragon regains his breath weapon. I rolled well enough. And he blasts out at you three, and then I'll take the WD-40 at a safe distance and just give it a blast, and they feel the heat, and I have dimmed lighting with torches anyways, as you can tell, and so that bright light, that heat blast, it wakes everybody up, and it's so awesome, that wow moment. So
that's fantastic.
They don't know, but they look, and so I have to hide. Like right now, I'm in the garage tavern, and there's like rafters, and I actually got a 7-foot Halloween dragon for our convention coming up, and that spits out fog out of its mouth and like roars and lights up its light. And so I took off the head and fixed it up into our rafters, and then I got pulley system to the garage door opener, which is motorized. People, you can disconnect it, and just with the click of a garage door opener button, it pulled the string, which pulled the dragon head down, and then the smoke released onto the whole table of the players, and this huge dragon head. That was epic. I didn't send you that one because it didn't have to do with necessarily.
No, but it's like the Rube Goldberg of like machine of D&D. Like that's fantastic.
They shit themselves.
Of course they did. And you do obstacle courses too? Did I see this in some of your videos? I saw them getting beat when they were running to fight a kraken. Is that something that I saw?
The kraken run. Yes, I did. Yes, that happened. Yeah. They had I tied it in with like players' birthdays and stuff, so it's like an event. And but yeah, they were fighting a kraken at that time. I found on OfferUp like a Kraken arcade machine. Asked the guy instead of selling it if he'd rent it to me for a day for $40, and he did. And
Done. Worth it.
done.
Worth it
So was
for
like
the
an
day.
arm. Yeah, they had to actually. I did tie in alcohol to this, so they had to chug a drink. They had to take a shot glass all the way through the gauntlet as we had Kraken pool noodle tentacles hitting them. Put it down, arm wrestle the Kraken, and run back and see how much alcohol they had left in the shot glass. And the one with the most won. And one of the most creative players, our monk, decided to drink all of it, not fully drink it, put it in their mouth, run through, do it, and then spit it back into the shot glass.
Oh, that's smart. Love that.
Bold move.
Like, well done. Yeah.
That's so good.
I used Kraken
awesome.
rum, of course, for that one.
Yeah, of course you had to.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've been talking a lot about things that you do at the table, but we need to hear a little bit about how this group came together, the Heroes of Evermore. How did you guys find each other? How did you start playing? Like, give us the story for that.
Yeah, for campaign 1, like I said, it was before all of these things that exposed D&D to the majority of the public. And so it was my wife jumped in. She's like, if you're spending this much time on something, like, I want to be there with you during that time. And she was awesome.
That's a good partner. That's a good partner.
And so she was shanghaied into it. And she was our elven fighters. Perfect. Eldritch Knight. But the others I asked like through soccer, just asking like, hey, do you guys ever play like tabletop role-playing games? Like, you guys down to try this? It's Dungeons and Dragons, that awkwardness of asking at first, which some of you guys may have, is you just have to ask and easily overcome and just own your nerdness. Like I said, nowadays it's easier to do. But so from soccer, him and his girlfriend at the time, now wife, I'm going to marry them in game. It's going to happen. And then who else? A buddy through church, like, it just kind of comes together as you start talking to people about it and say like, oh, what you're looking to play or do. And 6 heroes in the beginning, they came together, and that first campaign was like just about 2 years, playing like every other week. Wow.
So every other week, that's like 50 some sessions over 2 years.
It was a lot. Yeah, it was good.
That's a really impressive length of sessions for a home game. That obviously you took it to the next level, but that's a lot of D&D planning for a dungeon master.
Oh yeah. And being, go ahead. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
No, I'm sorry. I'm muting myself because is there still a lot of noise on my end?
No, you're fine.
Oh, it's not? Okay. Sorry. My session timed out. I don't know what the fuck that happened. I was just going to say my session with my friends Baltimore has been going on for like 2 or 3 years. We probably played like 10 games. So the dedication is something that, well, we're all apart. It makes it a little bit more difficult, but I respect the dedication, man.
Yeah. So scheduling is the BBEG of D&D.
Mm-hmm.
The forever and then for us, we mix in hospitality and bartending, and it's just chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
Double down times 2.
Don't play at 4 a.m. It's fine.
I mean, we haven't not done that. That's real. Hey, you guys want to grab like a 6-pack from the bar and go play for an hour after the deep clean? Yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
So what session were you in this campaign when you decided that you wanted to turn it into a book, turn it into the next level? When did that conversation happen?
Yeah. After campaign 1, and this being homebrew, D&D 5th edition, most of this and all of this is like, it's my content, it's my world, it's my baby. I mean, you're essentially creating a video game in your head, which we'll touch on later, but, and allowing the player to just choose wherever they want to go, and then like, oh crap, like I planned a little bit over here, but I got to change direction. And so anyways, implying that after campaign 1, we actually were pregnant with our baby, and I needed to take a break and like invest in some family time, and because balancing this with real life, as we touched on, is not easy. And so making sure the priorities are straight and everything. And that's when I started writing the book. 20 minutes a morning, having coffee in the morning, checking emails. I would be on the front porch and I would be writing a portion of the book. And this is based off some of my notes, I did like partial notes throughout each session, and then my memory, I have like a videographic memory. Like I can
Really?
remember movies and movie lines, and like this is a movie played in my head, and what every person did at the table, because I'm reenacting it in my mind, and then I'm acting it out at the table for the players and what they did. So it's all here, and then getting it out to share with the world, because I don't want it to just be trapped in my head. I want to share those epic movie theater moments that happen in the campaign. And so that's when I decided after the first campaign to write about it. And I was only able to get out with a 2-year writing process, right? 1 year writing and 1 year editing, copywriting, publishing. That I was able to get out just arc 1 out of probably 5 arcs in campaign 1. So there will be a series to follow. Maybe the next baby will start writing the second book.
Yeah, and all that free time that you're going to get having a second child.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Before.
Yeah, sure. No, that's incredible.
Yeah. Well, and sharing that with the world is something special, but also what an incredible thing for your friends and players to have, and for their friends and family members to have. You know, that's it's a weird thing to have a fictional story that's also not completely fictional because they actually were there playing it. That's really, really cool. And I'm sure that they all feel, you know, that it's a precious thing that you gave to them. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah.
So you guys are on campaign 2 now?
We're on session 30 next of campaign 2. We are just over a year in, probably 6 months left, maybe. They're just starting arc 4, and it's been amazing so far. But for campaign 2, I thought about it ahead of time, and I was like, I could do the dining room and like dry erase markers. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, and it would be epic, and we'd have a great time. But I felt like I wanted to give my players more, and so currently this table in the garage was like our old dining room table. It's huge. Instead of selling it, I actually hooked it up to a winch system with pulleys. So it's the first
you and the fucking pulleys, man.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first ever levitating table. With the push of a button, it will go up and the car can pull in, and then it can come down for D&D night.
Smart storage. For those of you at home who are adults and wish you had space for a gaming table, go to Home Depot, go to Lowe's.
No. You need
you
need to go to this man's website, and you need to start selling the kits. Okay, because this is not just a gaming table. I mean, that's a good damn fucking idea. I'm sorry. That's just extra storage, man.
Yeah. Helps with your significant other, in regards to always having a table set up, and and then pulling the garage in. So it's been awesome, and I just trying to make things happen, right? And so making things happen with the players at the table, taking it to the next level. I had almost 1,000 followers at the time we started campaign 2, and that was, people were just loving what I was sharing from campaign 1. And so then I reached out to creators that I had built a relationship with on social, and was like, hey, I would love to showcase your stuff. I need it to make the campaign, epic. Would you be interested in sending it out to me? And I'll do, I was in marketing for 10 years. I did marketing at the resort too, partially. But I could do marketing posts for you. I would give you shout outs in our live intros before every session, and showcase your product. And we could even do like a, code so you can track people coming from me. And almost all of them that I reached out to signed up. And I'm so grateful I have what I have right now, elevating it to an amazing level, which I never thought it could be. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
Well, it's storytelling. God damn it. Sorry, this getting kicked off threw me off.
Finish strong, Mike. You got this.
Why can't I think of the word? The idea of us creating the story together. God damn, I'm sorry. I'm not that stupid, but it's collaborative storytelling. But I just imagine that these brands that are creating things to enhance that for people. Now you guys are collaboratively sharing a story together as well with their products and what you're trying to do. And that's just really cool. I'm glad that they were all really responsive to that.
And
I'm sorry, that word really threw me off. I apologize. Jesus Christ.
We'll make it the word of the day next week.
Collaborative.
The word of the week.
My God.
But this is a really cool parallel that like we see in the hospitality industry that I think lends itself to Dungeons and Dragons is that there's this shared connection, this shared storytelling across playing games at a table or having a shift working in a bar and a restaurant together, is that you have this shared identity for something that you're really passionate about. And, whether it's, you reaching out to these creators to do cool things with them, market for them for free, do this advertising, or us bringing in bartenders from all over the country and showing off their really cool pottery and showing off their really cool creations and like doing these things. It's very similar, and it's really cool to see that you were able to do that for them and for your players at your table. So kudos to you. Like, hats off.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And this community is awesome. Like, there are always bad apples in every community, but the majority of this geek nerd culture is beyond what I could imagine, and looking out for each other and being awesome with each other. So
yeah, I mean, what do we love more than anything is to share what we are passionate about. And if it's being nerdy and playing games, and we want to tell everybody we can, especially once we find out that they're into it. Because
and then bring your bartending flair to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. You did mention though a video game. So you have the book, and we're doing this world building and creating in your head, and that it's basically like having a video game. Where are you at in making this thing? Because I want to play.
Yeah, and honestly, you guys, I'm not trying to like spread myself to the thinnest. What does Bilbo say? Like butter spread
over too much bread, baby.
Yeah. Trust me. If you've had that thought, like, this guy's doing way too much, I agree with you. But it's natural for whatever my mindset in regards to also creating this world and having this content that is mine and being able to do what I will with it. And so I grew up playing video games. I love video games. I grew up watching Lord of the Rings. I grew up all this stuff and implementing this not only at D&D table, but in any medium possible to share with my players, for me to play in, like for people to be able to play in our world of Evermore as like, and create your own character and then meet the heroes of Evermore and gain them as a companion to roll around in, which not many games do, but you're rolling around as a D&D party, taking out foes. Like, that's what I would love for people to experience. We are currently, it's going to be a third person RPG, low poly, so a little rougher than World of Warcraft, but like I was able to go out for the last like year and a half and purchase pre-built assets essentially through Unity. So I looked to try to do it on my own. I realized I could not do that by enough, way more than I could chew. And
well, you did design a tablet program for hotels, so you do dabble just a little bit. Don't be so humble.
I tried an Unreal, and it was like watching tutorials step by step was exhausting. Late nights, and then I found out Unity has an amazing store, and so that's the video game building program. And so purchasing pre-built assets, and then finding on Fiverr a developer that already has built games in that same third-person RPG, low-poly style over in the UK, and he's amazing. And so working with him and his team, he's actually was willing to give me advice at first, and then reaching out to him, and he's building out a town of Evermore in his existing world. And so doing a crossover event, which would eventually our alpha test to then capture media and marketing materials for a Kickstarter to see if we can produce a full game.
That's cool. That's really cool.
That's pretty neat.
That's where he's currently starting to work on. The game development document has been sent over to him, so he's beginning to start that process. So I'm hoping Q1 of next year we have something to show.
Collaborative storytelling. That's what I was trying to say. I get that that's what the D&D world is, but with people in IRL, as you said, trying to do cool stuff with projects that they're passionate about, and then finding other people that are trying to do something cool and being able to, share that. And you have that perfect opportunity to collaborate and then turn it into something of its own. That's absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Thank you. Heck yeah. We're stoked on it. We're so excited. Like I'm hiding it right now.
Who wouldn't want to see their D&D character in a fucking video game? Come on, man.
I would absolutely love to see our campaign 1 turn into a video game, and see all the characters that we've created along the way.
Yeah.
Even to read a book about my campaign. Yeah. I lived it. I'll read it. That's super cool.
Yeah, no, and we have it on Amazon, so we're able to, and we're able to get feedback, right? And not just friends and peers. And so actually getting 5-star reviews on Amazon is like the most fulfilling, rewarding thing. Like, oh, people actually like this adventure, like what our characters went through, and like, it's so cool. Yeah.
So we talked about as well finding these kindred spirits, and like once you find out that hey, we're into the same kind of nerdy things, let's talk about it. Well, one of the places that you get to do this is at conventions, and I know that you have been to conventions or planning your own. Give us a little sneak peek into what that's going to look like.
Yeah. So, I was just invited to be a dungeon master at San Diego Comic-Con, which is the international one. It's huge. I personally, living here in San Diego County, have been trying to get into that con for 6 years. And it is insane because they do like tickets via like a raffle, like waiting room. And if you get in, you get in. And if you don't, you don't. I've had 2 computers running at the same time. So for me to be asked to be there was like...
And the garage door, right? That was rigged up to that too, I'm sure.
Of course. So to be able to do that and then take some of my immersion elements there amongst other dungeon masters was so cool for players to see, like people going around taking pictures and videos and like, bringing this backdrop to like put over the table, bringing solar lanterns. Like I had a whole pack with my digital display maps, like lugging it around the con, which I was sweating, but it was awesome. So, and then getting a lot from that. But for the last year, my buddy was my partner for our convention coming up. We're planning one. He actually pitched me the idea. What do you want to do for a convention? I'm like, oh, there's no way, dude. I have a kid. Like I'm running my own campaign, marketing for that and the sponsors. Like I have zero bandwidth like to do anything else. And he's like, no, we have such a presence in our local community. He DMs at a bunch of local game stores. I know a bunch of local businesses. And we started it, and we started to reach out to people. We started to find people who knew celebrities, who knew bigger celebrities, and like weave our way in through conversations and like having my book at GaryCon in front of a bunch of celebrities and like influencers in the space. And so getting them to be speakers at our convention. People are flying in nationwide for this convention. It's going to be called Mystic Con. My buddy and I combined forces, and we made essentially a business called the Mystical Cauldron. And my name's Morgan for Mystical. His name is Chris for Cauldron. And in the Cauldron, smoke, there's dice for, our D&D.
Of course, it has to be.
Flair, of course. And so we combine forces, and we're bringing the immersion that we put at our tables into a convention. And we've talked with people that have ran conventions in this space, and they're like, wow, this is a really unique niche. This is going to be insane. Like, and a lot of eyes are watching you guys right now because nobody really does this. They're starting to. I heard there's one in like Williamsburg, BergQuest that's just starting up. But just like taking it to the next level, having VIP experience with like a speakeasy style room.
I was going to say, Mike and I are coming out to bartend apparently. So
let's go.
I've got to say. Yeah. I've got to say, Mysticon is a great name. That's a great name. Well done.
Hey, thank you. So that's how it started, and how it's going. We're under 2 months out now, and we have 25 out of 30 vendor booth slots filled. Wow. We have 1 celebrity speaker. We have influencer 4 panels booked out with influencers in the space. Bands, 2 bands that are going to be playing there, beer and wine, raffles, cosplay competition, all sorts of fun stuff. So yeah.
That's great. And when is this taking place? And can people buy tickets yet? Because that's a question.
Yes, if you are in Southern California, or if you have family that's out here and you want to fly out and stay with them and come hang out, or if you just love TTRPGs and D&D in general, it's going to be October 20th. So Sunday, from just a 1-day con from 12 to 8, we want to go for quality over quantity. So we're not just in it for money making business like a lot of these conventions have done, where it's just like huge and mass produced and not intentional and not as immersive as it could be. So that's what we want to bring. But tickets are on sale. I'm sure the link is somewhere in the doohickey. But
We'll find it.
you guys do that, right?
He was casting a spell. Did you see that? Yeah.
I did.
I
certainly
summoned the link. Yeah.
No, on our Instagram, Heroes of Evermore or the Mystical Cauldron. It's going to be link in our bio. We have link trees up. That'll have websites there. Our early bird pricing did just end, but we have VIP tickets, general admission tickets, and then we are having D&D games playing throughout the day. VIP table for VIPs, and then 2 general admission tables. And so we have elite dungeon masters that we're bringing in for that. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah. Well, 2025, Mike. Here we go. We'll be there next year.
Oh, this is it's 2025. This isn't. I was like, we're going to be in Kentucky. I can't make that.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, we're gonna be at Elevate.
Yeah.
Oh man.
In October
Guys, next year.
Okay, yeah,
Absolutely.
no, I've never been to San Diego. I've been to California, but no, I fucking love that. Again, Mysticon. Oh, just it rolls off the tongue. That's just a great name.
What a
Thank you.
what a journey you have been on with Dungeons and Dragons over, you said 5 years ago. That's crazy. You said 5 years ago that you really started to get into it, and now you're planning a convention. You have a book published, a video game. I love this so much.
I love that when we talked about the or the con, you were like, oh man, I've got a baby on the way. I've got I'm running my own campaign. Work wasn't the second thing. It's like, also I have a job. It's like, no, that's third. I have a baby in D&D. Like, come on, man, I'm pretty strapped right now. Your priorities in the right place, and I love that.
Yeah, for sure. No. Oh man, yeah. No, work is there. That is a full-time job too. Yep.
Yeah. You work to D&D, right? Yeah, you don't D&D to work. No, or actually, maybe with enough time, that's exactly what you will do. Yeah,
it's true.
That's the hope and dream.
Well, Morgan, thank you for being on the show. But before we wrap up, we have a final question that we like to ask everybody. And usually whenever we have hospitality professionals on, we ask them what their favorite shift is. But for you, because you specialize in Dungeons and Dragons, we're looking for a favorite moment at the table. Either I think maybe we can do 2 if you want, but as a player and as a DM as well, because
I like that.
2 very different perspectives on that.
Well, you're a forever DM, right? When was the last time you actually got to play?
When I was 20. No, I played.
he's like, I don't fucking play. I DM. All right. I am the squirrels.
300 years.
Yeah. No, I've played recently a couple one-shots. I play a artificer spell slinger called Artemis, and he's a bounty hunter. I get to embrace my Western vibes with arcane firearms, which are like old muskets I have. So yeah, it's absolutely a blast playing him.
No pun intended, I'm sure.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I'm sorry, can leave me alone.
Fireball.
You're a dad.
Fireball.
I'm not. Fuck you, man.
Dad jokes. That was it just came out naturally. See how natural that came? I didn't even notice it. So
I know.
I would say in regards to answer the first question and a shift, I know we're doing D&D, time frame wise was my 10 to 7 shift was beautiful. Front services, got to sleep in, got to party late. It was great. Anyways, the D&D side of things, I would say dungeon mastering, the most beautiful moment was the players are on a ship. They just got unveiled the big bad on an island, and they're heading back, and they see a ship off in the distance in like the silhouette of the sun. And I described it like, ships used to hide in the sun to get close to their enemies and attack, and they see it, and they're all hungover from the night before partying that they just survived this big fight. And as they're looking at the ship, the bell alarm rings, and they see this little shadow of a ship approach and get bigger and bigger. And then all of a sudden it gets consumed under the water. And they all look at each other in like existential fear. And they're like, what just sucked that ship under the water? And all of a sudden this big wave of water hits the ship, and they see tentacles all of a sudden start to come out and attack them, and this kraken submerges. And now I nerfed it. I said this is like a baby kraken because they're level 5 at this time. but because Red Kraken would have destroyed them. And so, anyways, that's the job of a dungeon master to balance. And so, anyways, the players, I go to the restroom. So maybe they metagamed, maybe they just talked on ship. I'll just give it to them at this point. Come back and they're like, they're like, okay, yeah, I'm going to use my bonus action to like go Shanghai a couple crew and go get a barrel from down below, because I explained how there's gunpowder for the cannons and that there's rum barrels, and so they get the barrel and I'm like, I already know. Okay, you're thinking Pirates of the Caribbean, like totally, I get this. And
Absolutely.
so they like bring it up, and like they planned it perfectly, where like the archer knocks an arrow like at the time that the Kraken is trying to eat another player, so the mouth is open, and the Dragonborn is right next to them and like does a little like bonus action flare of their breath weapon on the arrow as two of the other players in the crew throw the barrel into the mouth. They roll well on that. They roll like a nat 20 on the throw right to the Kraken. Then they roll a like 18 plus mods, so like over 20 on the shot and then the fire. And it was like this beautiful slow-mo movie theater moment, barrel into the mouth, arrow getting shot into the barrel. It explodes and does enough damage to regurgitate the eaten heroes that were in the belly of the beast. The beast falls back down into the water. It was beautiful. I was one of my most epic, memorable moments for sure.
Incredible.
Those are the hero moments. It feels so good.
Well, and that description of slow-mo is so accurate, because once it all happens, as a player or a DM, you remember it as this fluid motion of a chain of events. But when it's actually happening, it can take like 30 minutes for something like that to happen. It takes so fucking long, but then after it, you have that somehow that memory congeals into exactly what happened. I love that.
Yes, it's awesome. And that's what the book is for, right? Just like putting that in. It's not like, okay, they rolled here,
and then they rolled this, and then Steve had to go to the bathroom, and I got it.
Exactly.
That'd be an interesting book to write too.
I mean, people have reached out and they're like, "Oh, we can tell when the Nat 1 happened. Like one of our characters tries to shoot a zombie, and then all of a sudden hits the player's shoulder in front of them. You know, like, oh yeah, that was a bad roll."
That's great. So one of the only questions I have is, if I buy this copy of Heroes of Evermore, can I get a signed copy?
Yeah, I'll get you a signed copy.
Okay.
Yeah. If you go to MysticCon next year,
I'm not waiting that long. Come on, man. I gotta read it. I gotta read it first to figure out if I want to go to MysticCon. All right. I gotta see what I'm dealing with.
Exactly. All right. It's a short read. It's 100 pages. It's got pictures in it. It's like a prologue to a series, essentially.
Oh, cool.
It is arc 1 of the campaign, so you get to see how the heroes came together. And my first entry into that is actually the first entry I did for my first session in 2019 to enter them into the realm. So it's almost like as if you are the player entering the town of Shadybrook. So it's cool. And then I tried to do a cool transition into third person. So
cool.
Yeah.
I'll just give me your address. I'll buy it on Amazon. I'll just ship it to your house, and you can ship it to me.
Well, perfect. You got it. What I've actually done for some people is had the players who are actually characters in the book sign it, because some of them are so
there
you go.
That's the ticket.
That's
only
the
one guy has the full set, but yeah.
Ooh, well, I'm coming for his ass.
But that's at our convention. We'll have a booth. I've done a couple booths. Heroes of Evermore. The setup behind me will be there. I've actually ran people at the booth through having like a zombie back behind, and I run them through. Okay, heroes training is what I call it. And if they get a bullseye on this fake axe throwing, then they'll get a set of dice. If they hit the target, hit the zombie, as it were, and I'll run them through the zombies, growling at you as it drags an axe, sparking across the stone floor. And so I'll immerse them into it. And that's an encounter in the book. So they get all sucked in and they're stoked, and I'll give them a sticker or whatever if they miss the target. But
you get a sticker or a set of dice. I mean, you win either way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Incredible.
But yeah, we'll work on that, getting you the book. 100%.
Morgan, thank you again for being on the show. Let's do some shout outs here. Where can people find you? Let's, give them a little reminder of where they can check out Heroes of Evermore and you.
MysticCon, no. Come to Southern California. If you're here already, let's meet. Let's game. It'd be awesome. But yes, Mystic Con, October 20th, San Diego, California. Instagram, Heroes of Evermore, Heroes_of_Evermore. And for my own sanity, I just kept it simple to one social media account. So I could manage all that with the baby and work and all that good stuff, priorities. And then our link tree, which we'll put a link to below, but link.tree/Heroes of Evermore.
In the episode description as well. So look at the episode description. Yeah.
Awesome. But yeah, that is where you guys can find us. Reach out to us. Every Saturday morning, I do Evermore Unplugged, or I try to. And we're actually going to have a coffee sponsor, but I have coffee with you guys and do a coffee chat, find out where you're from, what you guys are gaming, what you're playing. So get to know my following a little bit more and have that relationship built. So yeah. See you guys there. Go follow us.
Yeah, love that.
Do it.
Mike, any shout outs for you today?
You know, I'm just pulling this one out of, or just rolling a D20 here. You know, everything you talked about, Morgan, with really trying to create an immersive tabletop experience, because most of my stuff right now is with my friends in Baltimore. So we have to do everything online. Yeah. But I want to shout out Printable Heroes. I know them from Patreon. I'm sure you can find them on Instagram and everything else, but they do really awesome little drawings. You know, it's just anything from peasants to beholders, or, you know, just other, you know, monsters from the monster manual. They do different skins on them and everything else, but you can subscribe for like $3 a month and you can print all these incredible things off, and they're designed to where you can cut them out of the paper and tape the bottom together, and they can be little miniatures, or you can cut them out double-sided and laminate them, and then you can actually buy the little 3D printed circle holders for the cards. And it's a really easy way to increase your miniature collection without having to buy or 3D print miniatures. They're just paper printed miniatures. They're really, really cool. Printable Heroes. Check them out. They're really fun. They can add a lot to your tabletop experience.
We talked about, you know, player immersion at the table. That's step one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, seeing your character in real life in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're saying you can go on a date and you can pull out of your pocket a bunch of miniatures and a D20 and say, let's roll. And if she runs, not for you.
How else do I play D&D?
You've got to go to our to the Bardtenders Instagram, because I actually have a little comic I wrote about that, just a little panel, just to, you know, but I'll send it to you. But yeah, no dice. It's like, no, I have dice. Roll a D20 then.
Yes, yeah. That's great. Yeah. So good.
I'll send it to you. Look it up. You know, follow our Patreon, whatever.
Yeah, I'll share it again. I have a final shout out as well. It's from my favorite podcast. It's called Bardtenders, and you're probably listening to it or watching it right now. You can check us out on social media at Bardtenders. You can check out our website at www.bardtender.com. You can check out our amazing resources, our bards that do really cool stuff, because, you know, we like doing cool things with cool people. So we love to support them. So check out everything that they're doing too. We've got resources for mental and physical wellness for those in the hospitality industry who might need a little bit of an uplift every once in a while. Those resources are there and they're free. So please use them. And we do like 5-star reviews. Not only just for us, but also for our guests that are doing cool things on the show. So 5 stars anywhere you see their book online. 5 stars when the video game comes out. 5 stars for them, and 5 stars for us on your favorite podcasting or video streaming.
And 5 stars only. 5 stars only.
Oh, absolutely. I don't want to see anything less than 5.
5 stars, or don't leave a fucking review. Okay, you got better things to do with your time.
You're not wrong. Morgan, thank you again. Absolutely incredible. We're so excited for you. You're going to have a fantastic convention here next month at the time of this recording. It's going to be incredible. Right. So get out there, check it out. Check out Heroes of Evermore. And thanks for listening to the show. Mike, is it time to clock out?
Let's clock out.
Let's clock out. See you guys next time.